If you're a man over 50 and someone told you it's normal to wake up 3 or 4 times every night to urinate, I need to tell you something critical. That's not normal. It's not harmless. And the real reason is going to surprise you. There's a simple habit, something you do every single day without thinking about it, that's silently inflaming your prostate, interrupting your sleep, and eroding your quality of life. But nobody's warning you about it. Not your friends, not your family, and sadly, not even your doctor. I'm Dr. Alice Johnson, a specialist in men's health with over 10 years of experience treating prostate problems, erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, and everything that affects male vitality. I've helped thousands of men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s regain their strength, confidence, and independence. And today, I'm going to help you too. Most men think their prostate grows simply because they're aging, but that's only part of the truth. I'm going to reveal that your age isn't the main problem. It's this overlooked daily behavior that's triggering silent inflammation, causing urgency, dribbling, and all those frustrating nighttime bathroom trips. Stay with me because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal what that habit is, why it's so dangerous, and how to stop it naturally without drugs or surgery. I'll also show you a 15-second nighttime ritual that my patients use to sleep through the entire night and finally feel like themselves again. Before we start, if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any prostate health advice designed specifically for men over 50. Let's begin with the first hidden habit, one that most men avoid thinking it will help them, when in reality it could be making things worse. Habit number 10. Skipping annual prostate checkups. Not long ago, a patient named Henry came to my office. He was 66 years old, well-dressed, educated, and clearly uncomfortable. He'd been dealing with frequent urination, low energy, and persistent pain in his lower abdomen for over a year. But this was his first time seeing a urologist. When I asked why he waited so long, he shrugged and said he didn't want to know. Henry isn't alone. Many strong, smart, hardworking men avoid medical visits until they can no longer ignore the symptoms. I understand completely. There's fear, there's pride, sometimes there's shame. But let me tell you something I always share. You take your car to the mechanic every few months. Not because it's broken, but to keep it from breaking. Your body deserves the same care or even more. The prostate is a complicated organ. When it starts to inflame or cause problems, it often does so silently. No pain, no obvious warning signs, just subtle changes like a slightly weaker stream, an extra bathroom trip, a restless night. By the time it becomes obvious, the problem may already be advanced. But when caught early, many prostate issues, whether benign enlargement or even early-stage cancer, can be managed with simple lifestyle changes and non-invasive treatments. That's why annual checkups are so important. A basic physical exam, a PSA blood test, and yes, sometimes a digital rectal exam can provide vital information. These tools aren't for diagnosing disease. They're for preserving health, giving you the chance to get ahead of problems, not chase them after they've grown too big to ignore. Habit number 9. Sitting for long periods without movement. I remember one of my patients, Frank, a retired school principal, who told me he spent most of his day sitting watching television, reading the newspaper, or doing crossword puzzles at the kitchen table. "Doctor," he said with a smile, "I've earned this rest." But what Frank didn't know, what most men don't know, is that sitting too long, especially as we age, works silently against our prostate health. Here's what happens when you sit for extended periods, especially without getting up or stretching. You place constant low-level pressure on your pelvic region. That pressure reduces blood flow to the prostate. And when blood flow slows down, inflammation builds up. The body can't deliver nutrients efficiently. It can't remove waste. The tissues around your prostate begin to swell, and you may start noticing more urgency, a weaker stream, or even discomfort when sitting. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's what makes it so dangerous. It creeps in slowly. A few extra bathroom trips here, a restless night there, a growing feeling that something's not right. The truth is, our bodies were designed to move. Movement isn't just about fitness or losing weight. It's about circulation. It's about energy. And for men over 50, it's one of the most powerful ways to protect the prostate. The good news is, you don't need a gym membership or a complicated routine. One simple rule can make all the difference. Every 30 minutes, stand up. That's it. Just stand. Stretch your arms. Take a few steps. Look out the window. Set a gentle reminder if you need to. Habit number 8. Holding your urine for too long. I'm always surprised how many men minimize this as unimportant. I was stuck in traffic. The game was at its best moment. I didn't want to miss the second half. I thought I could wait until the next stop. I get it. Life is busy. But as a doctor who's spent over 10 years treating men's health problems, I can tell you this seemingly small habit of holding your urine is one of the most underestimated causes of prostate issues I see. Let me explain what's really happening. Every time you resist the urge to go, your bladder stretches a little more than it should. It's like inflating a balloon slightly too much, over and over. That constant stretching creates downward pressure directly on your prostate, and your prostate, especially after 50, isn't designed to handle that kind of pressure repeatedly. Over time, that pressure irritates delicate tissues, causes swelling, and can even create small injuries to the nerves and muscles that help you urinate properly. That's why men who have the habit of holding it often end up struggling with a weak stream. That feeling of incomplete emptying after going, or even greater frequency later. Habit number 7. Reducing water intake to avoid nighttime urination. I can't tell you how many times I've had men in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, sitting in my office proudly telling me they've started drinking less water at night so they don't have to get up to use the bathroom. And every time I gently shake my head and say, I know you have good intentions, but that habit might be making your symptoms worse. It sounds logical. Less water means less urine, fewer bathroom trips. But here's the part nobody tells you. When you reduce water too much, especially later in the day, your urine becomes more concentrated. It becomes darker, more acidic, and more irritating to your bladder. That irritation creates pressure. That pressure pushes against your already sensitive prostate. And the result is, you may feel the need to urinate more frequently, not less. When the bladder is constantly exposed to concentrated urine, it gets agitated and becomes overactive. It sends premature signals to empty even when it's only half full. And that's exactly why so many men wake up at 1 a.m., then at 3, then at 5, rushing to the bathroom with urgency only to pass a small trickle. Dehydration is one of the most overlooked triggers of prostate inflammation. Without enough water, your body can't eliminate toxins, your tissues swell, and healing slows down considerably. So what should you do? It's simple, really. Hydrate consistently throughout the day. Don't wait until you're thirsty, because that means you're already behind. Instead, drink small amounts regularly from morning until early evening. You're aiming for light, clear urine. That's your body's way of saying, we're in balance. Habit number 6. Excessive caffeine consumption. I'll be honest with you. This topic hits close to home for me. I love the aroma of fresh coffee in the morning. That first warm sip can feel like a small gift. And for many of the men I see, especially those who are retired and finally enjoying slow, peaceful mornings, that daily cup of coffee becomes almost sacred. But here's what I've learned after 10 years treating prostate problems. Too much caffeine, even from something as familiar and comforting as coffee or tea, can silently wreak havoc on your bladder and your prostate. Caffeine is a stimulant. It doesn't just wake up your brain, it wakes up your entire urinary system. It increases urine production and stimulates bladder muscles, often leading to more frequent urges to go. For a young, healthy man, this might be a minor annoyance. But for someone over 50 whose prostate may already be slightly enlarged, that extra stimulation can push things over the edge. Habit number 5. Eating processed and spicy foods regularly. I had a patient named William, 68 years old, who came in frustrated and told me, Doctor, I've cut back on sodas. I'm trying to walk more, but I'm still waking up at night to urinate and it's driving me crazy. I asked him to tell me about his daily diet. He paused, then laughed. Well, breakfast is usually bacon and eggs. Lunch might be a sandwich with deli meat, and I can't give up my spicy chili at dinner. That's when the real conversation began. You see, what many men don't realize is that food isn't just fuel, it's also information. Everything you eat sends a message to your body. And highly processed foods like bacon, sausages, frozen meals, and even packaged snacks are sending the wrong message to your prostate. These foods are loaded with chemicals, unhealthy fats, and artificial preservatives that increase inflammation throughout the body. When your prostate is already sensitive, these inflammatory signals make things worse. But it's not just processed foods. Spicy foods, especially chili peppers, chili powders, and hot sauces, can directly irritate the bladder and pelvic nerves. And when those nerves are overstimulated, it can feel like your bladder is full even when it's not. Habit number 4. Eating too much red and processed meat. I remember a man named Joe, 70 years old, retired from the Navy, proud Texan who came to see me after struggling for months with interrupted sleep, a slow urine stream, and growing discomfort in his lower pelvis. We reviewed his lifestyle, and when we got to his diet, he laughed and said, Doctor, I'm a meat man, always have been. Nothing beats a good barbecue. I smiled because I hear that a lot, and believe me, I get it. There's something deeply satisfying about a hearty meal centered on meat. It's part of culture, routine, even reward after a long day. But what most men don't know is that a diet heavy in red and processed meats, things like bacon, sausages, deli meats, and yes, those thick steaks, can silently fuel the very inflammation that's worsening their prostate problems. Habit number 3. Smoking or even being around smoke. I'll never forget a man named Walter who came to my office a few years ago. He was 72 years old, proud, strong-willed, and had worked in construction most of his life. He looked me in the eyes and said, "Doctor, I quit smoking 10 years ago, but my prostate is still giving me problems." When I asked if he was ever around other smokers, he paused and nodded. "Every Friday night at the poker game, my friends smoke like it's 1975. What Walter didn't know is that the prostate is incredibly sensitive to environmental toxins, and cigarette smoke, whether you inhale it yourself or just breathe it secondhand, is one of the most damaging exposures you can face. Every cigarette releases thousands of chemicals, many of which restrict blood flow, decrease oxygen levels, and trigger chronic inflammation throughout the body. That includes your prostate. Habit number 2, abdominal fat and obesity. I had a patient once named Leonard. He was 64 years old, soft-spoken, and always tried to maintain a good sense of humor even when his symptoms were frustrating. He sat in my office and said, "Doctor, I know I've gained some weight around the middle, but how much damage can a belly really do?" I looked him in the eyes and gently responded, "More than you think, Leonard, especially for your prostate. Excess abdominal fat isn't just extra weight. It's metabolically active tissue that sends powerful hormonal and inflammatory signals throughout your body. This type of fat, especially around the waist, isn't just sitting there quietly. It's working against you. It converts your valuable testosterone into estrogen, which can directly contribute to prostate tissue growth. And as estrogen rises and testosterone falls, the prostate begins to enlarge, leading to more frequent urination, weak flow, and that persistent feeling of pressure. Habit number 1, uncontrolled chronic stress. Of all the things we've talked about, your diet, your habits, your daily routines, this is the one most men overlook, and yet it may be the most powerful force affecting your prostate health. I've had patients sitting across from me, well-dressed, educated.com, on the outside, but carrying the weight of decades on the inside. One man in particular, Richard, told me, "Doctor, I'm not the type of person who talks about stress. I just keep moving forward." And I nodded because I know that story too well. Men, especially those over 50, were raised to keep it all together, to be the rock, to endure. But what we now understand medically and emotionally is that chronic stress doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your body, and your prostate feels it. When you're under constant stress, your body produces elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol fuels inflammation, tenses pelvic floor muscles, disrupts hormone production, and interferes with sleep. Over time, it lowers your testosterone and increases your sensitivity to pain and pressure in the pelvic region. This creates the perfect storm for prostate problems to develop and persist. You're not broken. You're just uninformed. Over the years, I've sat across from hundreds of men like you, frustrated, exhausted, and quietly worried about what's happening with their bodies. Some feel embarrassed, some feel angry, most feel alone. And after hearing their stories, I can tell you this with total certainty. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're simply operating without the full picture. And now that you have it, everything can change. We've gone through the 10 most common habits that slowly inflame the prostate. Each one may seem small in isolation, but when they accumulate day after day, they silently create the perfect environment for your prostate to swell, your sleep to suffer, and your sense of control to fade. But here's the part I want you to hear louder than anything else I've said. You have the power to change course, and it doesn't require a radical overhaul. It requires awareness. It requires small intentional steps taken consistently. It requires listening to your body instead of ignoring it. And it requires treating yourself with the same care and urgency you'd offer someone you love. One of the most effective tools I've given my patients is what I call the 15-second nighttime ritual. It's simple, safe, and backed by the same principles we've talked about today: reducing pressure, calming the nervous system, and supporting the bladder and prostate while you sleep. Men who do this every night have told me they wake up less, sleep deeper, and finally feel in control again. And the best part is anyone can do it, starting tonight. So here's what I encourage you to do. Review the habits we discussed. Choose one that feels doable and start there. Don't chase perfection. Chase progress. You're not too old, and it's not too late. Your prostate is listening, and now you have a voice that knows what to say. You've made it this far. That tells me you're ready. Let's move forward together. If this video helped you, even in a small way, please take a moment to give it a like. This tells the algorithm that this content is making a difference and helps us reach more men who need it. Share it with a friend, a brother, or someone you care about who might be struggling in silence, and I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know which habit impacted you most. Your voice matters. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to receive updates on our upcoming videos about men's health. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking care of your health. And remember, it's never too late to start feeling better.